Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in, Tamara and Avid. Glad you guys are here. This is October the 9th of 2024. We're going to be in Proverbs 9 to coincide or to sync up with the date of the month. Proverbs 9. There's a note with verse 1 through 9. We'll start in verse 1. But welcome in, everyone. It starts out, wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out of 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him, he who lacks understanding, she says to him, come eat of my bread and drink of my wine I have mixed. Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. Now let's look at that note that comes with it. Those first 6 verses, it says, those who respond to wisdom's maidens and choose her gracious banquet, though they may lack understanding and moral experience, will soon see a change in themselves. Wisdom is like a place of temple, a palace or temple with pillars, remnants of Solomon's temple. Pillars give a building lasting strength and beauty. Nothing about the harlot's ways endures. Then we are on verse 7, and verse 7 through 12 has a note. Hey, Joey, welcome in. So we'll read the verses and then we'll take a look at the note. Verse 7. He who corrects a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. Do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. If you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. And the note says this section lies between 2 different kinds of invitations, each with its own destiny. Wisdom's banquet, 9 through 9, 1 through 6, on the way of folly, or the way of folly, chapter 9, verse 13 through 18. The wise person sits at wisdom's banquet will be still wiser, because wisdom begets more wisdom. And now there is a separate note on verse 10. So let's look at verse 10. Again, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And I actually have that verse highlighted. The note says, again, Solomon states that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Here, however, he explains the fear in terms of knowledge of the Holy One. For wise, skilled living in the world, God requires, above all, a right understanding of God's holiness and a reverent submission to his ways. Okay, we are on verse 13, and verse 13 through verse 18 has a note. So let's look at the verses. It says has a heading: the way of folly is the heading, and the verse starts out: a foolish woman is clamorous; she is simple and knows nothing, for she sits at the door of her house, on a seat by the highest places of the city, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. Good morning, Robbie. I don't know why, and this is just a little insight to how my brain works, but that passage reminds me of the Hotel California, the song. Robbie, I'm glad you're in here, man. Sorry, guys, I'm not feeling real good. Wasn't yesterday and still not. The note on verses 13 through 18 says the power of foolishness is presented here in the form of a seductress. She may be clever, acquainted with the ways of the world, and crafty, yet she is blind to spiritual realities. Her brazen ways are exciting, clamorous. Talk may be persuasive, but persuasion does not equal permission in the Lord's eyes. The fact that the woman admitted her pleasures, stolen water, were wrong should be the Christian signal to flee, no matter how tantalizing they may seem to the flesh. And that is all there is in chapter 9. So we're going to jump over to Ephesians chapter 6, and we're going to start in verse 10 and go through verse 20. The whole armor of God, we're going to put it on. That coffee's good, but it sure is hitting hard when it goes in. Verse 10, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, now we have our armor on. We're ready to face the day. I notice Teresa Jukowitz is not in here, and she asked for prayer yesterday. You said she was been sick, and I also need to ask for continued prayers. And love you guys. I'm going to challenge you guys to go be a blessing for someone else today. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless you.